Hey guys, it's Stephanie from StephanieB.com. Welcome back to my VBAC prep vlog. Today I'm going to talk to you about how the way you sit can affect your birth. So you'll notice that I'm talking to you today from the floor. That's the very first thing, is that sitting on the floor is so good for you. It's one of the first things that I recommend to my clients who are looking to overhaul their lifestyle, have a healthier lifestyle, is sitting on the floor. So I'm not going to get into all the health benefits of it in this video. We're just going to talk specifically about why it's good for your birth. So what we want to do is have our legs open enough to cradle the belly. You're just going to create this little space here, leaning forward. What that does is it allows your pelvis to open the way it's supposed to and gives your baby space to get into the right position for birth. And as you know, my baby needs to be in the perfect position in order for me to have my VBAC. So sitting cross-legged like this is ideal, but I realize it's not accessible for a lot of people. So one thing you can do is sit on a blanket, get your hips a little bit higher, and that'll relieve some of the pressure from your hip joints and also make it a little bit easier to get that forward lean that I was talking about. Another option for sitting on the floor is using a bolster. What I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to sit on it and then keep my legs straight instead of sitting cross-legged. So this is another option. You don't have quite as much turnout in the hips, so it's not as good, but if you want a little bit of variety, if you're sitting on the floor a lot, like I do when I'm playing with little man, then sitting up on a bolster like this gives you that angle, again, like we were talking about, giving the baby space to get into the perfect position. So I understand that you can't always sit on the floor. So the next best thing would probably be an exercise ball, but you have to make sure that you pick the right one. So let's talk about how to pick the right exercise ball. This one, I can already tell you, is too small for me. So, if you look from the side, my hips are lower than my knees. You want your hips higher than your knees, but the concept is still the same, that you have an opening here and you're making a cradle space for the baby. So from a more forward angle, get a nice space for the baby so you can sit at the computer or whatever it is that you need to do. Just make sure it's a little bit higher than this one so those knees are below your hips. If you absolutely have to sit in a chair, the best way to do it is backwards. So you straddle the seat and lean forward. Again, this is creating that cradle where your legs are open and your belly is forward, and you can rest. You can rest here and help pick up snacks. Good job. All right, so just to review what we talked about today, ideally you want to be sitting on the floor, where legs open, belly forward, creating a nice cradle, giving your hips space to open up and the baby room to get in position. You sit cross-legged, you sit on a bolster. You can use an exercise ball like I showed you, make sure that you pick out the right height, or sitting backwards in a chair. So that's all I have for you today. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and my website.